The CoinDesk Spotlight is brought to you by Nexo, the place to earn on Bitcoin, Ethereum, and more.
Heading over to Europe, Austrian crypto exchange Bitpanda has been expanding its presence through the continent with a mission to bring digital assets into mainstream adoption. So what are some of the roadblocks in more crypto-friendly jurisdictions? Joining us now to discuss is Bitpanda Chief Product Officer Lukas Enzersdorfer-Konrad. Welcome, Lukas. So the latest news is that Bitpanda is partnering with French mobile payments app Lydia to offer their 170 digital currencies. Maybe you can weigh in on France's regulatory reception to crypto compared to other EU countries.
Yes, I can hear you. Hi. Hi, everyone. Great to be here today.
Sorry about that. My Wi-Fi went off, but so Bitpanda has been partnering with French mobile payments app Lydia to offer their 5.5 million users the ability to invest in over 170 digital currencies. So maybe you can weigh in on France's regulatory reception to crypto compared to, say, other EU countries.
Yes, for sure. So first of all, great to be here today, and thanks for having me. I think the important topic to understand is that we at Bitpanda, since day one, since we were founded in 2014, are striving strongly for being fully regulated by all different European countries, and also as part of that in France by the French AMF. When the French crypto law, the AML5D adoption came into place in 2020, we were the first foreign non-French crypto company being fully regulated under it, right? And for us now, partnering up with Lydia, the largest local neobank and payment super app here in France, it's for us really to bring about our really easy to use and simple and convenient trading services for crypto, as well as for other assets, to Lydia's users and customers.
Mm-hmm. And I suppose, why France compared to other countries?
From a crypto regulation perspective, you mean?
Yes.
Mainly you can see that the AMF is quite open to crypto companies as long, and I think that's the essence out of all different European regulators, as long as you follow the rules and the laws. And therefore we are in quite close contact with the local regulators to fully comply with all these different regulations in the cryptos world, but also on the other side, for sure, in the existing traditional financial service industry laws, which are part of that, especially in Europe. So very, very open, and we are in quite good collaboration with the local authorities.
So the U.S. has really been kind of dominating the crypto regulatory news cycle lately. Can you just give us a snapshot of how Europe compares to the U.S. in terms of regulatory friendliness toward crypto?
Yes, for sure. I think the important part here to understand is that European regulation is still quite fragmented, right? So there is no EU law simply regulating a harmonized market for crypto. So it's about obtaining a license in each country. And we as Bitpanda exactly have done that and are in the process of doing it with the last European countries to be fully compliant with all our services in all of these countries. But it's also super important to do that because otherwise, and I think that's also then the downside of Europe, if you're not compliant in one country, you simply cannot offer services to these customers. And that's super important, therefore, for us, as we are, as said, super secure and compliant with these laws, to be regulated by each of these entities in each country. For example, France, Austria, and also others.
Well, that actually sounds similar to the U.S. in the sense that U.S. regulation is very fragmented state by state. There's not really this one U.S. regulatory environment. So I guess Europe and the U.S. share that in common. I'm curious about the state of DeFi in Europe. So at one point, Chainalysis came out with this, basically saying that, Western Europe was the center of DeFi, but then they also kind of say that the US is the center of DeFi. How does DeFi compare in Europe and the US? Because it seems like there's quite a lot of capital flowing into DeFi in Europe.
Yes, for sure. So I think the main topic here is that DeFi in Europe is growing in adoption and getting stronger and stronger as part of that. Independently of that, DeFi is not yet part of existing regulation. So I think there is a lot of regulation coming up in that regards, but not fully regulated yet, I would say, independently of Chainalysis and so on.
Lukas, I think a lot of your friends are seeing you right now and they're calling, apparently. But
Yeah, it looks like. I'm super sorry. I just turned it off.
So we've been looking at this right now from the point of view of the regulators, and the regulations. But what countries, in terms of the customer base, what countries would you say are the most friendly right now to crypto adoption? Obviously you're expanding into France. How would, for instance, the French market relate to crypto relative to other countries? Are they more friendly, et cetera? And which ones are the most friendly? Which are the ones that you think where crypto hasn't really taken hold of the consumers just yet?
Yeah, I think if you look in general in Europe, you have to consider that Europeans are not that used to invest in general, right? Especially if you compare it to the US or the UK. So continental Europe, people are not used to invest and therefore also not that much into crypto. But crypto adoption is a super strong driver for investing into assets in Europe quite strongly, right? So in the end, a lot of people starting to invest in crypto. And what we've seen is, friend, it doesn't matter if it's in Spain, in Italy, in France, in Austria, in Germany, and also other markets, that people get more and more into that space and quite fascinating. And that crypto adoption is quite correlated also in Europe with investment adoption as part of that. And I think this is also quite important to understand that our white label solution is exactly that partnership of bringing our trading services to other partners in Europe who already are in these countries, who are neobanks, payment apps, and also traditional banks who are quite eager to offer crypto trading to their customers, retail customers who already are and getting more and more interested into exactly getting engaged into crypto, getting invested, and use the applications within the crypto space quite strongly. And you can see that throughout all different countries in Europe, I would say. So it's not that you have a country where they are super slow versus some others are already quite strong. That's quite even distributed, I would say, throughout the population in Europe.
You wouldn't say that one is more competitive than the other. And I say this, looking at Binance, they've recently registered a fourth legal entity in Ireland. They kind of flirted with the idea with France. Is there competition among countries to, attract crypto companies into their firms? Is there competition, and who are the most competitive?
I think the important topic to understand is that each regulator is tackling it from his or her point of view. To a certain degree, you have Germany with already quite advanced laws from a regulatory perspective. And then you have other countries, Poland, for example, which even until a couple of weeks did not have a law in general for handling crypto companies. So if you as a crypto company in Europe think about where to locate or where to be placed, it's not a question of what is the best place. It's simply a question of how can you comply in each country with the local laws and regulations. And you see that, as you mentioned, also with other crypto companies thinking about how to enter Europe. We at Bitpanda, and I think this is simply our biggest advantage, we started already 7 years ago with being fully compliant, freedomly to local regulations, which were then still not applicable in the crypto space, but in the financial service industry. So therefore, I think one of our strengths definitely is that, as I said, we are super regulated, we're super easy to use, and you can use us from more or less each European country as part of that, independently of how strict the local regulations are already or not.